Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Sanunku da futawa. Welcome to the Coffee Talk Show with me, Ramla Saidu. Getting to know someone before making an informed decision to marry them is not an alien concept to the Islamic societies, but some Muslims have now inculcated the imitations of Western relationships, which includes physical touching, kissing, hugging, and even sexual intercourse when dating, which is not permissible in Islam. Today on the Coffee Talk Show, we are going to talk about dating in Islam and what ladies should look out for when searching for a spouse. Do stay with me, and when we're back, I'm going to unveil my lovely special guests. Welcome back from that short breather. If you just joined me, the topic is dating in Islam and what ladies should look out for when searching for a spouse. And joining me for this discussion is Mrs. Aisha Mahmood. You're welcome, Mrs. Aisha.
Thank you for having me.
Same here. And Mrs. Halimatu Sadia Saidu. You're welcome too.
Thank you very much.
Yes, today's topic is going to be very, very interactive. And we want Mrs. Aisha to tell us a bit about courtship.
Okay, before you started, you mentioned dating. I was hoping we looked at that first. For starters, dating, as we commonly know, is what is most practiced, especially in the West. Unfortunately, our brothers and sisters have also adopted it. Dating is when, two people of the opposite sex have one-on-one intimate relationship. That is on one side. Another side is where they mostly seek to spend time alone together as a precursor to deciding who their life partner is. Unlike courting, which prepares you for marriage. Now, for these two reasons I have mentioned, it makes it totally off for any Muslim or Muslimah to adopt dating as a practice in Islam. So simply put, dating is not allowed amongst Muslims. On the flip side, what we are allowed to do, or what Islam allows, it's courting. Some people call it khitbah. Khitbah means engagement. What is courtship? Now, Islam understands that marriage is a very important step in everyone's life. I mean, it is not something you should take lightly. It is not something that happens by chance or something that carries on, because of your hormones or anything. It is a carefully selected investigative journey. It is one that should start with prayer, and it is one that also includes family involvement. Now, these three things I have outlined are what holds the, if you like, mantle to a strong and long-lasting marriage. Again, we're looking at family involvement, we're looking at prayer, and we're looking at careful investigation. So that makes courting different from dating. So you see with this one, even if you go back to the definition of dating from any search line, you see that dating is what people usually describe as, sex is tagged in dating, alone time is tagged in dating. There's another one, some weird one. It explains something like having a good time, all in quotes. I mean, there's no way you can have a good time without having physical contact with someone. There's no way you can have sex, that's an explicit one already. And there's no way you can have alone time without, the negations that holds marriage sacred involved in that process. So for that reason, dating is a no-no. What we are allowed to do is courting, and courting for the right reasons. So for courting, it prepares you for marriage. You start off with prayer. You do careful investigation for both partners, and then you involve your family. Now, the reason why you need to involve your family in the courting process is because it allows you to choose a partner not based on any romantic notion or any of that sort, but rather on an objective basis that allows you to look at compatibility for both sides. Also, you get to tap from the wisdom from, the frontliners. You're talking about your parents, your father, and, the older people that get involved in this whole process. So, in fact, courtship is another bliss that comes with marriage that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us. And if we abide by these rules, I think we're good to go as far as
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Mrs. Halimatu Sadia, get us going. What is your take on courtship and dating in Islam?
It comes with its own rules and regulations. We don't do things based on how we think it is done. During the time of Islam, we have issues, situations where people seek for people's hand in marriage, and you're allowed to see, to chit chat, talk with you, but it should be where there's a mahram. When we talk of mahram, like somebody who is blood related to you, or somebody that is from your family relation. At least there should be a third person. It shouldn't be just, the temptation of shaitan.
Yeah.
So if just the two of you are there, there's a possibility, even no matter how pious or, the chemistry between the male and then the female. So you have to. Those are the rules. Courtship comes with rules. You shouldn't be go over. But I think that a lot of the work is not even supposed to be done by you, the supposed couples involved, because at the end of the day you realize that we are moved by a lot of emotions,
right?
Okay, the love and then all the romance and all this, but so a lot of the investigations that she was saying and all those, the background checks are supposed to be done by our parents, our brothers, as our relatives, and not, but for us, we could, one or two issues here we know, and then I could tell my mom, because the first thing they would ask you, who is he? What does he do? Those basic things here, you know, but other things you will never know. And then it is not your duty to go and do it. It's for your parents. Just do the intro and then the rest, they pick it up from there. Yeah.
One thing I was asked when I spoke about courtship in Islam is whether it is possible for one to get married on the basis of maybe being introduced to parents. Let the parents do everything and then leave the rest to the parents. Is it possible in today's world?
Yeah, I think it's possible. I think, see, when you are talking of investigation, it's not just about what you're going to see, that the face value. There are a lot of pertinent things that parents look out for, okay? And then you as an individual, as I say, emotions play a lot, when it comes to marriage and all those things.
Right.
So it's, in fact, it works. And parents that have really taken their time to go through all those processes, make sure they know whoever their son or daughter is getting married to, end up coming out with issues that not necessarily for them, but it saves you. Because see, if you want to go, I know you love me, or I love you. There are things that I know when you know it might put you off, so I decide to hide them. And your parents are not even going to ask your mother, the guy's mother or the father or the sister. They are going behind board, okay, the community, the imams, where he prays, where he works, people that don't have any personal relation with the person, they will tell you the truth. So when parents, it's highly, and it's very, very recommended, it really saves a lot. A lot of the marriages that are breaking up, I tell you, most of them have not gone through these processes.
Right.
There's been no introduction. I know you are interested, I'm interested, you have a car, I have those material things.
Right.
We see those things on the face value.
Okay, so Mrs. Aisha.
Before we even get to the loving arena thing, it's not just possible, it is highly recommendable. Islam has this perspective that is so unique, only if we would adapt it. Now, how do you meet someone, or how do you get married to somebody that you haven't, met one-on-one like we always do? Sometimes we meet at colleges, sometimes hospitals, sometimes church station, we are meeting and all that. But then here we are saying, okay, you haven't met, but then we are what's the word?
Arranged?
No. We are okay. Arranged. Not necessarily. We are pairing. She's a pairing. Okay, fine. That's what I'm trying to say. What should be is, okay, for anyone who intends to go into marriage. First off, you need to say a personal prayer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it can be as simple as this. Ya Allah, I want to go into marriage. I want you to choose the right person for me. Like Allah is that simple. You don't need any specific dua, Rabbana. No, you can even say in your language. So that's first up. Number two, the youth has developed in such a way that, alhamdulillah, we have the strong bond in brotherhood as well as in sisterhood. And it develops and continues almost through our lifespan. And with that too, families familiarize themselves with, okay, now I know you are my brother, mother knows me and all that. So that network is built. So if today you get up and say, okay, you want to get married, we already have the network. What your mom or your dad need to do is you narrow it down. Pick the select the prospects and then narrow it down. Okay, I have finally selected this, and then from that, the mother or the father usually invites or reaches out to the next family, and for a meeting. Good. After that, it is allowed for the both of you to meet, but in a chaperone group. Like she said, you need a mahram or a relative to be there so that it doesn't allow for any loose talk. You look sexy, what's up? You haven't seen me, you just met me. Sexy, what's up? How do you describe someone who is sexy? I think it's insulting for you to see someone you haven't even married. What is the definition of, you get me?
Yeah,
so that chaperone environment is cold enough, not cold as in the negative way. Imagine your uncle escorting you to go meet brother Ibrahim who wants to seek your hand in marriage, and your uncle has this game, mashallah. How do you think that guy will collect himself together and respect you and know that this is gold coming? See, it is her uncle who is bringing her, so I need to know how to talk and all of that.
MashaAllah. We will be back with some more. This is getting very interesting. Do stay tuned. When we're back, it will be more interactive. Assalamu alaikum. Hello, lovely people. Today, the Coffee Talk Show is coming to you on the streets, and we are here to get your opinions on topics that we have discussed in the studio. Yes. What is your take on courtship and dating in Islam? We'll be back with your opinions on the screen. Don't go nowhere.
My name is Salu Abdullah. The best approach when it comes to courtship, I feel in Islam there is a laid down procedure that we're supposed to follow when it comes to marriage, because we need to be cautious about issues that has to do with zina. So you would definitely have to follow the laid down procedure so that you don't fall within the tenets of zina. Yeah. So if someone should come to you that I'm interested in you, I want to marry you, first you get to assess whether you like the person. If you know he's somebody that you would want to give consideration, then you direct the person to your wali. But in doing so, you could also do your own istihara and then pray about it and seek for Allah's guidance.
Sunana Yakub Alpha Sulaiman. Gaskiya dai in yazo batun shanin courtship ko mu ce relationship, ina min kama musulunci ya tun aje muna hanyoyi na zamu ya to express whatever we feel to the other gender, and that is only when our intentions are pure. Idan muna so machine ko muna so ita na tana so machine da alhairi, Allah ya tun aji muna dokokin da ya kamata mu bi. First of all, it is important. Kuma kin ga batun shanin musulunci, wai duk wanda ya bi dokokin musulunci wai yana samun komai sauki, ba wani wahala. First of all, ya kamata at least ka ji kaga iyayen yarinya. Bayan kaga iyayen yarinya, at least from there na in kana so ka san yarinyar da kamar yadda murka ya so kasar musulunci ya ce, go to her home, sit with her, discuss whatever issues you want to discuss until lokacin da ka zan kama, oh, now you are ready to settle, or she's also ready to settle with you. But gaskiya yanzu wannan mu yanzu da way we go about issues of relationship shi ke kawo mana wasu masaloli da yawa, even right from their home in Abata Muna community. Because today, someone might approach a woman, a lady. You can't really tell his intentions. And because he hasn't come on, so they were about to be dokoki musulinchi. So he used the other means, get what he wants. After he has tasted and enjoyed it, she can come and oh, I'm not interested again. Probably she may she ko itana soon I forgot you. Can one yaw na be samureno. So for me, as a person, I think the best approach shine ta anya musulunci. But even if you can't do that, let's even assume, because yes, I don't even want to give an exception. But even if there should be an exception, then you should know that you are even talking to her. And you make sure that your intentions are pure. And just and again, when if you love someone, you don't want to hurt the person, you don't want to destroy the person, you don't want to what ends the person's future or the person's aspirations. Just yeah, we can be matching. You wouldn't want to have anything to do with her. I mean, let alone to have an unfortunate pregnancy or any STI that would destroy and cripple her future. So for me, even if you don't go through her parents and you're talking to her, make sure your intentions are pure, and then make sure you don't engage her in any activities that would, cripple, destroy her future. So at least we can build a very well future together. Thank you.
I can't get married to someone that I don't know. I might be getting married to a mad man, or you might be getting married to a mad woman. So for me, dating is important. You can't marry someone you don't know.
Welcome back to the Coffee Talk Show. My lovely outfit is from Kaya Mall. You can contact them on the numbers on your screens. Well, this topic is interesting and we'd love to go on and on and on. Yes, we are going on. And Mrs. Halimatu Sadia, what are the laid down procedures that we have to go through when you're interested in someone?
Okay, so when you're interested, a lot of the times, when we talk about interested in someone, the attention or the direction goes to the male, because they basically do the marriage. Okay, so if anyone is interested, like you see somebody and then you're interested in the person, I think you would definitely have to, Islamically, you're not supposed to just approach the person directly. And earlier on in Auntie Aisha's submission, she made mention of dua. Okay, so when you meet somebody, I think to be fair to your own self, you should pray about it first. Lest you go and approach someone and then later, like, it doesn't work and then it brings all those. So you pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever decision you want to take now, this person you're approaching, if that is the right person, may Allah let like everything go through success. And then if it's other way, like Allah should replace the person with another this thing. So basically when you meet someone, I think the first thing you should have to do is approach your parents.
The parents rather, not the person.
I'm talking about you. Let's take on the perspective of the guy. You approach your parents. I've seen this lady. I'm interested in her, and then the parents will pick up from there, and then they are going to see her parents. Okay, so when they pick it up from there, sometimes they ask you, "Have you met the person before? Have it like you haven't?" And then, as we said, it is allowed for the courtship. So there's a possibility of them allowing you to meet each other for the first time, maybe discuss one-on-one, or better, on the side of the lady. We wouldn't say that a woman is not also interested in a guy. We'll always wait for the guys to come and approach us. In other settings, a lady sees someone and feels like, I'm interested in this person. I think he will be a good husband or a father to my kids and stuff. You can also as well talk to your parent that this is person. So they have a way of going about it, the parent, like they're letting you feel safe. I'm using the word safe before it feels like that's kind of no exactly that kind of. So you pray about it, involve your parent, let them pick up from there. If things are okay from two angles, like parents of the guy that are okay with all the background checks, I think everything moves.
So there's no long talk about courtship for a year or two when
no. There's no supposed in the normal, like you want to get married. Is it a course? Is it a university course you want to take? Like, and in Islam, like there are legal rules. If you, a woman, are interested in a guy, there are things that Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam say that you should look up for, like into the person, and then the vice versa. So, like for a woman like this, basically, there are two things. Okay, I think it's either Mantardona Dino or Hulku for the Wiju. So if you're okay with the person's religion and the person's attitude, okay, fine. This person, like, it makes it like, there's
Click.
you click. And then if it's the woman, the guy should also look for like 4 things, okay? If she's beautiful, you can marry her based on that.
The beauty.
If she is wealthy, like Akwe Kudi,
so it's not wrong to want to marry a man because he's wealthy.
No, it is not. See, the basic thing with the woman, let me land this so they will make that. So if the woman is rich, you can marry her for that reason and it's fine. It's allowed.
Fine.
Yes,
Wow.
If she's coming from a good home, like Diemba or Mia, like the chief imam, that you want to also have
That
a link
standard
from that kind of, it is allowed, okay? Like those things that, but, and if she's religious, because she's a religious, a virtuous, that's what, and the Prophet ﷺ says that if you choose the one that has faith, okay, it is better for you. Now, the issue here is, does it limit us to that part? No. Every human being has their own standards. It should just be within the tenets of Islam.
Yeah, we will come back to the standards, but is being wanted by a man enough to say, yes, I agree to marry you? Yes.
Like this question, how?
Like how?
5 men can want 1 lady.
Can she marry all of them?
The competition there is there. If the lady is beautiful, beauty there is a physical thing you can see. So 1,000 men can want her. So if you agree, which of them would you marry? No.
So the man has come home.
Right.
I want to marry your daughter. No consent, no nothing. The father says, let's fix you.
Like Auntie said, I think the answer is in your question. You marry someone based on 4 things. These are like choose one.
So it is a no-no for. It is a no-no for.
It is no reason for her to agree to someone just because the person wants her.
Okay.
Wants you for what?
Okay.
I know, like
as a wife.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Everybody
Maybe
wants
you're pretty, and I want to,
So after your standards, am I also buying
you
into
have
those
good because it takes 2 to tango.
Like me and I don't like you, we don't click.
Like she said, we are looking at status, we are looking at iman, we are looking at wealth and beauty. So you choose, but the best of the 4 options is iman.
If you are lucky and have all the 4 in one person,
you have to.
So there are some petty qualities that most women seek in men.
Yes.
Is it okay to want that particular thing in a man that is not listed in the 4 qualities?
It is highly recommended.
Before that, what is your definition of petty?
Well, that's how people put it.
It's relative. Like
it's relative, yes. So
relative.
It can be maybe when the man is eating, the man opens the mouth, and when he's sleeping, maybe his eyes out.
You have every right not to see.
Not to.
There's one thing I've always said that if any man wants to say, "Oh, I'm marrying her because she's religious," and overlooks the other things, and this man knows that you are that type of person that you always want to flirt, like you want to. You are picky on women that anytime you see a woman that is nicely dressed, you are like you are.
You know the story of the
now you go and marry another woman that somebody and the woman after marriage you don't fancy your wife anymore. A lot of people
like
they are not into their like their
spouses.
And they carry any other thing.
That is why the Prophet said you are allowed to look. You know of the Sahaba who said he wanted to marry someone and the Prophet asked him whether he has seen her. He said, no, he said, go back and go and look at her. Look at her. What you get is what you get is what you have.
Someone said if ladies go for wealth, then they are opportunistic.
No,
mostly we get that.
You can't say that because it is one of the options for which Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has said
that. Okay, so
it's
my standard. So that's
your option. But then they are saying that
it should be within the tenets of Islam.
So how would you say the person's opportunities?
You have every right to get married to somebody that is responsible, that can take care of you. Because it is not part of iman for you to get married a lazy
Listen to this angle where I choose to marry someone who is wealthy because I want the person to use the wealth for dawah.
Yeah.
This is not some concept that you see. There's always a positivity in every option you choose. So you can't just cancel. Yes,
Because people in tight corners.
Because mostly when you marry someone that is not on your standards, you end up being unsatisfied, just as you said.
And you end up, you see people cheat because my wife doesn't dress well, my wife doesn't just, like those kind of things. We are not saying that what the people are doing is right, but I think if you should follow your, like you have your own standards, okay? And then you pick based on those standards, not on pressure. You see, people get married because there's pressure and the person is not ready. She doesn't even like the guy. She's married him because she wants a status of a missus.
right.
Okay, so I just want to be a married woman. My younger sister has gotten married. My this has gotten this and that and that and that. And at the end of the day, you are just married. One thing we should know about marriage, it's not like I keep saying that it's not a university course. That's in the next 4 years, you get a degree, or 3 years, you get your HND. This is a lifelong like. It's not even a contract. I won't say a contract. That is like on the like
face value.
level, it's shameful too. So do you want to commit yourself in a situation where there's not, and you see there's always a limit to patience, a limit to the compromise.
Right.
As when there is nothing you can do. Like you'll be pushed to the wall. But if you've married somebody based on things like alhamdulillah, you're okay with the person. Like a lot of petty things, you overlook them.
Yes.
You overlook them and then things.
Another thing we'd also need to also remember is that no matter the option you choose, you still have to adjust.
Yeah.
I can marry someone who is wealthy, who has bad personal hygiene.
Yeah.
With all his wealth, he doesn't know that when he brushes in the morning and you're coming to sleep by me at night, you have to brush your teeth because you want to kiss me.
Yes.
You get me? So no matter the options you choose, you always have to adjust along the line. You can't have it perfect like that.
Wow.
But Charlie, let's marry for Iman. That's the best of it.
Yeah.
And as Auntie Aisha said, the best is to marry because of Iman. We will be back. Do stay tuned. Welcome back to the Coffee Talk Show. Sisters who are divorced and widowed are made to believe that they can't have a speck of a man they want. What is your take on it, Mrs. Sadia?
Before I answer this, I think we should also ask ourselves, did they put themselves in those situations? Because nobody wants to be a widow or divorcee, like separating herself from a loved one. No, so people go through this, and then when we tend to put these things on them, we rather like add more injury to their soul, how they put it. Yeah. So anybody who is divorced, divorce in the first place in Islam is halal. It is not haram. And the fact that somebody is divorced does not mean the person is a bad person. That is one thing our communities don't see.
And mostly the stigma is on the woman.
Right.
That like, you know, those kind of things. And all those things. See, whether divorce, and when the Prophet ﷺ was talking about who to marry, there's no condition in Islam that says that widows are supposed to go and marry widows, divorcees are supposed to marry divorcees. We have like situations in our communities where somebody is divorced, okay, at the age of 18, 19. And you are telling this very young lady not to have a specs of who she wants to marry just because she's divorced or just because she's a widow or something. See, everybody has the right to choose who they want to choose. The bottom line is follow the tenets of Islam. Like it should be within the principles of Islam. And then you are good to go. Nobody should put pressure on anybody.
Right.
And then besides, these widows are going to stay in those marriages. Not a different set of marriage from those that have single marriage. And these people in Islam even have, when we talk of consent in Islam about marriage, the consent, for the virgin woman, she's allowed to like a smile and all those things.
Right.
Like we use those signs as a consent. But for a divorcee or somebody who has been into marriage before, she is supposed to be like verbatim that I agree, I don't agree. She has all those powers too.
So we shouldn't impose.
We shouldn't impose. One thing, we should stop conflicting religion and culture. One supersedes the other.
Right.
Culture cannot modify religion.
Right.
Whatever your culture is, the fact that you have accepted to be a Muslim and practice Islam, make sure that your culture blends so well with the religion, and don't come and impose your cultures and societal norms and all those in religion, and leave innocent women. We are talking of women here, after all this, the pain of losing a loved one, a pain of going through the societal pressure of Kenya rape, and all those things. You want to add this thing to this.
So
let's be fair to them.
Let's wrap up here. What is your final advice for young ladies that are out there wanting to settle down?
Before I take my bit, have you heard the story of Julaibib? To Julaibib. Let me sip my coffee.
Let's all sip.
Julaibib was said to be a very beautiful creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. According to his description, guy made a kill. Like he wasn't, say the
word.
Yes, like he wasn't that nice. And he was short. So, in fact, he was someone who was said to always live by himself, all alone, because of a lot of people didn't want him around. But when Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam arrived at Medina, he sought solace in his presence. So he was one who was always staying by him, listening to his teachings and all of that. Long story short, the Prophet asked him what he desired. Then his response, very beautiful response. Well, when I heard the story, I was in chills. Wow. He said, what else would I desire? Aside what I get from you, like the comfort I get from your presence and, the way you welcome me. Who would not want to be the presence of God? But the Prophet asked again and he was like, okay. But I think it was a silent response. But the Prophet saw that he was a man who had, ya tashi, ya balaga. Yes, so who would want to marry someone like that? Someone who you don't even want in your company. So the Prophet reassured him. The Prophet met with an Ansari family and sought for the man's daughter in marriage. Mashallah, he took the news to the wife. The same thing, she was very pleased. After the jubilation, the Prophet said, oh, he wants a daughter, but not for himself. That's like, for who? And they mentioned Julaibib. Subhanallah, you can imagine that kind of thing. Julaibib. See, his situation was so bad that even children used to tease him. You imagine. Kingane. It's sad. It's sad. He wasn't someone who was deformed, but he was just ugly and short. So, but there is always something positive about the way Allah has tested you as a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we get tawakkul, we have faith and hope, we are good to go. Sure. Long story short, the mother took back the rejection. And they were going to tell the Prophet that so when she was sending the message, the daughter overheard the response that they were going to send to the Prophet. And she asked, is this what is going on? Then he said, yes, we are going to tell the Prophet that no, this one there we can't take. And the daughter asks, did you not hear that this request is coming from Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And she said, yes. Have you not heard that any request that comes from this blessed man is something that is of bliss? Why then would you reject a blessing for me? Just say like you don't like me. So Allah, is this not a lesson? But there is So they sent this message and long and short, she accepted and she married him. Fast forward story. They went on Mushrikeen, they went on a war and then he was martyred. When the Prophet asked who and who have they lost, they said, oh, they've lost this. Mention Suna. His name was not part. The Prophet asked again, come on, more than 3 times. They still didn't mention. And the Prophet asked, so where is Julaibib? Because he went with us. Behold, there was Ustaz Julaibib. He had killed 7 people around him before he was killed. The Prophet took him with his hands. He dug the grave and he buried him himself. The lesson from this story is, after his death, who did this wife become? She became widowed, right? But she was the hottest cake during the time. Hotter than even the virgins that were not married.
MashaAllah.
Did you see what I'm deducing from this story?
Yes.
So why would you then say that widows do not have status in Islam?
Islam.
Praise be to Allah. Let me sip my coffee.
So what will you tell the young ladies out there? What is your last take? Very short.
My last take that marriage is a beautiful institution. If you are marrying, marry for the right reasons and don't settle for less. Know your standards, know what you want before you go into any marriage. And then this societal pressure, don't marry because you are getting older, or don't marry because your younger sister has gotten married. As I said earlier, marry for the right reasons and then you will enjoy a blissful marriage, inshallah.
Marry for the right reasons. And this is how we wrap it up here on the Coffee Talk Show with me, Ramla Said. My lovely outfit is from Kaya Mall. You can contact them on the numbers on your screens. You have a good day.